Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Fantasy Football Consistency Show. Week 5 is coming upon us, Week 4 has passed us. We're going to review Week 4, preview Week 5. That's James Knight. I'm Bob Plum. We're coming up next. Rock on. We're heading into Week 5 already. Time flies. I swear, football season flies by like there's no tomorrow. We're already heading into Week 5. We got a game tonight, Thursday night. Rams 49ers, or Rams and half of the 49ers team is playing tonight. So, again, I'm Bob Long, Big Guy Fantasy Sports. That's James Knight, Big Guy Fantasy Sports as well. James, welcome. We're ready to rock and roll. We've got some new consistency numbers year to date to share. Interesting stuff, if I may add. Are you in agreement?
I absolutely agree. Like I said, football season flying by, and then the consistency stuff is definitely some interesting things to look at in there that I wasn't expecting. I'll say.
Yeah, I always feel like it takes the first month. I always tell people like, look, whether it's the articles or our shows, it's like, look, we're in week 1, week 2, week 3. Week 4 is when it's kind of like, okay, now the cream is rising. It's they're starting some separations, for players, for tiers per se, who the upper tiers, mid tiers, low tiers. And as always, doesn't matter where you drafted folks, doesn't matter if you draft them low, draft them high. They may be doing well, but they may not be. We're going to talk about that. So, James, we head into the quarterback position. Clutch factor now through the first 4 weeks, 19.61. I always said it floats around 20, but 19.6 is pretty good. This week, I think we had a pretty substantial number of quarterbacks, but this is the thing that already is surprising me. So we're through week 4. We have one quarterback who is a perfect 4 for 4. One. And it's our boy that we talked about all summer, Baker Mayfield. He's 8th in total points. So, yeah, he's not setting the world on fire, but he is Mr. Consistency because guess what? All those other big boys have missed at least one game, some 2, some 3, and we'll get to those. But there is Brock Purdy at 2 for 2 because he got hurt at the 75%, so 3 for 4. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Jalen Hurts. Justin Fields at 67% because he missed a game. And then after that, from Patrick Mahomes, who's 3rd in total points and only 50% consistent, it goes 50% and down, which means all the quarterbacks that I did not mention are only helping you in half of the games. That's not good for a quarterback position. You need that guy to be consistent. And man, right now, Lamar's hurt. Yeah,
You
it's
got Lamar out, Joe Burrow's out. Several top
yeah.
tier quarterbacks.
So let's talk about the upper level. I think the surprises are Drake May, Caleb Williams, maybe Baker to a lot of people. But with Lamar now being hurt, I mean, Josh might have been the only good risk you could have made in the upper part. Maybe Jalen Hurts. He's 7th in total points, got the 75% consistency. Any thoughts on these people, these players? We'll get to the lower level after that and talk about all of them that are down there. But I know I've said this many times, and I hate to say it, but man, quarterbacks are becoming the new tight ends when it comes to consistency. They are just not reliable. And again, the clutch factor, it's not like it's 22 or something ridiculous. It's 19.
Yeah.
I mean, so your thoughts?
Looking at this, that's the first thing pops in my mind. You talk about it like it's the tight end position. I legitimately started thinking about this when I look at this consistency and I see this chart and this sheet, and I'm like, is it better if I stream quarterbacks? Would I be better off if I was doing that? I mean, because like you said, if you're hitting at 50%, if you have a plug and play guy that you drafted up there high, a Mahomes or the other guys, some of these other quarterbacks that were drafted pretty high, even your Kyler Murray's, your Jaden Daniels, or whoever, the injuries are hurting, but the 50% consistency where you're plugging and playing them is hurting even worse. So
Yeah.
um, I think, like you said, there's some surprises here to me. The Drake May, the Caleb Williams, the Jalen Hurts. It's wild to me because you can kind of lump some of these guys together that are up there in that 75% and say these are running quarterbacks. With Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Drake May, Caleb Williams,
Mm-hmm.
Hurts, they're all runners. But Baker Mayfield being up there at that 4 for 4 and not necessarily being considered a running quarterback, and they've also got a decent running game there. So
Mm-hmm.
like you said, we talked about him all summer, and if people listen to us and they drafted him, he's paying off.
I wish I listened myself more.
I wish I have some Baker, not enough Baker. Yes,
Yeah,
I will admit that.
I hear you. So as we said, 50%, and there's a lot of 50%. I'll go just with the 2 for 4s because that means they played all 4 games. So as I mentioned, Patrick Mahomes, Daniel Jones, Jordan Love, Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Bo Nix, Kyler Murray, Michael Penix Jr. are all 2 for 4. That's 50%. Now, for some of these guys, you didn't have to pay up. So if you got that, so like a Matthew Stafford, who I was kind of all in on as a good backup. Great game last week. It's been up and down. Tonight, I feel like he won't have to throw the ball much because I feel like that game should be handled pretty well because there's so little offensive starters playing for the Niners and defensive starters. It's almost like if you could just start every quarterback against the Dallas Cowboys, you'd be golden.
I've seen that.
I just want to stream the whole season just playing people against the Cowboys. I mean, think about it. Between Goff, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, it's like,
Every quarterback has absolutely just destroyed them. Yeah, you are 100% correct. And
right.
so yeah, and we'll see if that really works out this week though, because they get the Jets. If Justin Fields throws for 300 yards against Dallas, then yeah, we'll definitely know that's the litmus test. But I'll bet Fields probably runs for 70 yards in that game in his top.
I was going to say, it wouldn't surprise me to see Fields in the top 5 in fantasy, whether
Yep.
it be passing versus running, hard to tell. But
he'll
Daniel Jones started off on fire. He's 6th in total points, hasn't earned a clutch game since after his first 2 games. Stafford's been up and down, one every other. Prescott, Nix, all those guys. Kyler Murray, and they're not scoring that many points either. The ones who are in the top 10 have all probably had a big game. So like Love, Jones, Caleb against the Cowboys certainly has pushed him up there. I'm going to go down though to the even more brutal scenario, and that is the 25%ers. 1 out of every 4, not good. Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, Spencer Rattler, Bryce Young, and C.J. Stroud, Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Russell Wilson. When you're in the same category and you're a seasoned veteran like Herbert and Rodgers and Goff, and you're literally only 2 points ahead of Spencer Rattler, you're not playing well. That is not a good thing. And when you're below him, if it's even worse, because Stroud has actually scored less points than Rattler, and Tua and Trevor Lawrence and Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson had that huge game against Dallas. Scored 35 points, and he has 57 on the year. Yeah. Now, granted, he did miss last week. They started Jackson Dart, so that kind of ruled him out. But it's an ugly situation. It's an ugly scene. We got bye weeks this week. So for everybody, if you're living under a rock, Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, all off this week. So make sure you take a look at that. San Francisco, and you probably have that already figured out, but definitely that. So, all right, let's roll into the running back positions here, James. 9.79, pretty normal. It's usually around 10 for PPR running backs. We do have a lot of perfects, 4 for 4s. I'll run through them real quick. McCaffrey, James Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Javonte Williams, Devin Achane, Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, Travis Etienne, J.K. Dobbins, Kyron Williams. Thoughts on that group?
I, you know, there's names you expect to see there that, the top of the list, your high scores, your McCaffrey, your Cook, your Taylor, Robinson, et cetera. But one thing that jumps out on me is the kind of left for dead late running backs that have popped in there, like Dobbins. A lot of people weren't sure if ETN was going to keep the job in Jacksonville. There was a whole thing with that. And then Javonte Williams. And, that Dallas defense can't stop anybody, but apparently
Right.
Javonte Williams is an okay running back, is doing quite well there, is fit in well. So a couple of those names, like I said, that were late picks that you could have gotten later that people were kind of down on have really turned it on and been consistent. So that's surprising to me.
Yeah, a couple of players coming on that are Quidshot Judkins 3 for 3 since he started playing. Jalen Warren was actually 3 for 3 until he had the surprise scratch on Sunday morning. 3 for 4s: Barkley, Hubbard, Kenneth Walker, Scattaboo, DeAndre Swift, Kamara, 75%. James Conner, Charbonnet at 67. Of course, Conner's hurt. And then again, after that, if you didn't hear their name, they're 50% or less. That group, though, in 75 to 67, some interesting players. Scattaboo did nothing week 1. We kind of assumed Tyrone Tracy was going to take it all and then faltered. And now he's letting Scattaboo kind of join in, which looked fun. Jackson Dart and Scattaboo had a nice game this past weekend, beat the Chargers at home. Certainly looked like they may not win a lot of games, but they're certainly going to be fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
But DeAndre Swift, we all thought was dead. Everybody was drafting everybody except him. Whether it was Roshan Johnson or who's the other guy? McConaughey. All those guys. It's like nobody wanted Swift, and here he is. Right up there. 22nd total points. Good RB2, 75% consistent. Can't argue with it. But let's talk about the ugliness in the 50 percentiles. Derrick Henry, Ashton Giente, David Montgomery, Breece Hall, Chase Brown, Tony Pollard. Not good. I think the one that hurts me the most, of course, is Derrick Henry. I don't know what's happening there. He doesn't seem to be injured. I don't know if their offensive line is so terrible, but now I'm even more concerned. But maybe not. Maybe with I don't even know who's their quarterback.
Cooper Rush is going to be.
Oh, Cooper Rush, right. So let's hope we can get Henry back into the passing game with a lot of checkdowns and get him alive, because I have him on. I think they're mostly best ball teams, but yeah, he's killing me. Your thoughts on this group? Do you see one, couple, multiples that might be somebody you think will be heading in the right direction? Maybe they just had some bad luck, tough games, good defenses. What are your thoughts?
The one that stands out the most to me here is Omarion Hampton, the rookie for the Chargers. I was down on him before the season because I really believed that Najee Harris was going to get some run there and do that. But with Harris's injury, Hampton has been explosive the last 2 weeks, back-to-back consistency, where he didn't have it in weeks 1 and week 2, sharing that time. One of the big things about him is over the last 2 weeks, he's had 12 targets and has also had 80 receiving yards on top of running for over 200 yards between the 2 games the last 2 weeks. So I think it's a perfect situation for him. He's a round 1, obviously talented running back with the Chargers who want to run, and his only competition is now done for the year with Harris being out. So I think it's wheels up for him. We're probably going to see that consistency number go up for him.
Definitely agree. All right, let's move on to the wide receiver position, 10.03. So as I've always said, 10 is usually kind of the magic number for running backs and wide receivers in a PPR format. Wow, we are seeing in the first month probably one of the biggest blowout not victories, but number one ranked total points since basically Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
Just setting the world on fire. Puka Nacua, 109.5 points. Amon-Ra St. Brown is 15 behind. Number 12, so from 1 to 12, there is a 47-point difference in only the first month. So
a 47. So you're talking about over 4 weeks of action.
Yeah.
That's 10 points a game extra Puka's getting you there.
Yeah. So if you have him, good for you. I sadly it seemed like every time he was in a group, I grabbed somebody else, whether it was Barkley, whether it was CeeDee Lamb, I took a lot of Garrett Wilson, and I probably could have taken Puka. So, hindsight. But I just felt like with Davante Adams there, they would use both. And if you pick Davante Adams, Davante Adams is 14th in total points. So it's not like he's terrible, even though that's 47 points behind. But it just seems like he's non-existent because Puka's just setting the world on fire. And like I said, it'll be interesting what happens tonight.
In drafts, Puka was like that boring pick. When you saw his name in that bunch, you were like, he's going to be good. But, Davante Adams is there, like you said.
Right.
I'm going to take this guy with a higher upside. Right. I don't think anybody, even some of the biggest Puka people who believed in him, saw him just exploding like he has this year.
Well, and if you remember, all preseason, Matthew Stafford's back looked like it was just going to fall out of his skin.
Yes.
Everybody's like, oh, no, don't draft any of the Rams. Don't draft Stafford. He's done. He'll be lucky if he can even play. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And we all believed it.
Yeah.
I swear I should just not listen to anything preseason and then go into the draft with what I believe in and not what I've heard because, Quinshon Judkins, I was all in Quinshon Judkins until the stuff went down. I'm like, dang, okay, I won't draft him. I'll leave him go. And then,
now he's a plug.
And I got an email or text today from one of our readers, followers. And he said, Dynasty League guy offered him Davante Adams and a first-round pick next year for Judkins.
Wow.
And I'm like, I said, let's be honest. Adams maybe has a year, maybe two. So now you're trading a first-round pick for Judkins, and he said it would probably be a late first round. And I'm like, I'm not sure you can get a guy that's going to be as good as him late in the first round. You could.
You're basically taking a re-roll there, hoping you get a Judkins,
Yeah, right. That's basically what you're doing. You're trading Judkins for somebody who you hope to be Judkins. So I said, honestly, I wouldn't do it. I said, unless you're just like horribly desperate at the wide receiver position and, or you're playing for next year. But then I'm like, if you're playing for next year, you'd keep Judkins.
Yeah.
So I told him to keep him. I gave him a kind of a back and forth, like you could do this, but not sold on this scenario. But I feel like if it was my choice, I just wouldn't do it. But
yeah.
Anyway. All right. So again, back to the wide receiver position. So we talked about running backs. There were 12 perfect 4-for-4s, 2 3-for-3. In wide receivers, there are only 7 4-for-4s. 1 3-for-3, Mike Evans. So basically almost about half. That's not good because wide receivers should be the more consistent players.
Yeah.
That top group, there might be, of the 4-for-4s, I would say there's one player that you would have drafted in the first 2 rounds, maybe late second, might have for JSN and Olave or Metcalf. But I think Olave went late third because not a lot of people were sold on the quarterback. So again, Puka Nacua, outside of Puka Nacua as well.
Yeah.
So Rome Odunze, fourth in total points. Perfect.
Hmm.
JSN, Jackson Smith Najigba, seventh total points, 4 for 4. Ibuka, eighth in total points, 4 for 4. Jefferson, 15th in total points, 4 for 4. DK Metcalf, 17th. Chris Olave, 25th. That is it. Now, what is the trend here? Oh, look, half of them went to the Ohio State University. Just saying.
It absolutely stood out to me as you're reading the names off. Yeah, that's the first thing I saw in my head. Yeah. So
Yeah. And the funny part is Roma Dunze, which I found out this weekend because I don't follow college because I went to the Ohio State Washington game in Washington. He was up on the famous players thing in their stadium, and I'm like, oh look, Roma Dunze.
nice.
Yeah, it was very cool. Had a great weekend. So of that group, I'm surprised by DK Metcalf, and I'm not. Because I would, people were asking me, everybody was kind of like, and I'm like, well, on one side, Metcalf, I don't know, he always seemed to not be very consistent. But I said, all on the other half, that's all they got in Pittsburgh to throw to.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. So I think that is working out so far. Teams obviously can't figure out how to stop the dude or double teaming well enough. Kind of the same way with Chris Olave. Like, well, somebody's got to throw Rattler's got to throw the ball to somebody. And you got to assume that they're not going to have a lot of time to throw the ball. So he's going to do the quick underneath for Chris Olave. So,
Yeah, if Rattler or Rogers are throwing the ball 20 times a game, they're targeting those guys 10 to 12 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rogers doesn't have the arm strength to throw it that deep anymore. So, a lot of crossing patterns underneath plays. Amon-Ra is at 75%, second in total points. They had that first week game where they forgot to show up against Green Bay. And I'm not sure what happened there, especially after I watched the Browns beat Green Bay. It's like, what?
Yeah.
So at the 75%, we got some big surprises. Quentin Johnson, George Pickens. There's also Garrett Wilson, Deebo Samuels, Courtland Sutton, Michael Pittman, Devontae Adams, Zay Flowers, Drake London, Nico Collins, Tyreek Hill, Khalil Shakir, and Ted McMillan. I think there's a lot of surprises in that group. But what are your thoughts on that 75 percentile range of people that you like, you're surprised, or you're happy of that group?
I'm the same way. There are some surprises in there of guys who got up there to 75% pretty quickly. Michael Pittman stands out to me. I think a lot of people were in on Josh Downs as possibly being the alpha receiver there.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Warren came in, the rookie tight end. He's gotten a lot of looks. But Pittman's at 75%, 13th overall score for wide receivers. And I think last year, a lot of people talked about he had a kind of down year, but it was because of a back injury. That back injury is behind him, and he looks like a legit wide receiver one there in Indianapolis, and he's a part of the resurgence for Daniel Jones.
Yeah. 50 percentile, Malik Neighbors, done for the year. Wayndale Robinson's also in that group, and I feel like that's the guy that's going to benefit the most from Neighbors being gone. Not too many other surprises. Maybe Stephon Diggs being 37th in total points. Mm-hmm. Really thought they'd throw the ball more to him. They seem to like Hunter Henry more. In the 50 percentiles, there's not a lot of players that were like super high picked. Maybe Xavier Worthy. But in the 25 percentiles, this is where some of the ugliness is, just like their running backs were. We have Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, Jamison Williams, Brian Thomas Jr., A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, Jerry Jeudy, T. Higgins, all 25% consistent.
There is a team out there somewhere that has four of the names you just listed as their wide receivers and are hating it right now,
Yeah, you imagine coming out of the draft and you've got Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, Brian Thomas Jr., and Jerry Jeudy. You'd be like, I'm just going to wipe everybody off the field.
I am wide
And right
receiver.
now you're 0-4.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I watched a lot of that Philadelphia game. And the thing is, they're winning. And I've heard people, my good friend Jeff Mans talks a lot about it, and I listen to him on our way home from work. And he's like, people have to remind themselves that these NFL players don't care about, and NFL coaches especially, don't care about your fantasy team. And, the Philadelphia Eagles have it figured out. They've got a solid defense. They've got Saquon Barkley. They're not even running Barkley that much.
I don't know what they're doing to score points. That they didn't complete a pass in the second half, right? Like
Right.
Hurts was 0 for 8, and they still put the Buccaneers down, an undefeated Buccaneers team. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy. It's like watching college or a high school football on a Friday night. I feel like they're slow, methodical. They're doing things, but like you said, every week they keep winning. Just keep on winning.
Yeah. There's never any big plays.
No.
Barkley hasn't busted one yet this year. And I don't think he's hurt, and I don't think anybody else is hurt. I just think that, they're doing the job. They obviously lost a couple offensive linemen, which probably hurts some. But it's just been, A.J. Brown's pissed off, which he always is if he doesn't get the ball. And I'm sure there's going to be a game real soon, it might even be this week, that A.J. Brown will get like 15 targets and catch 10 passes for 110 yards and a touchdown or two. And he'll be happy, and then they'll go back to 2 for 40 the next week.
I don't know if it'll be this week, though. He's got Pat Surtain and Denver.
Okay. Well, maybe not this. No, they played Denver last week.
No, they got Denver. It was Tampa Bay last week, and then
Tampa Bay. You're right. You're right. Yeah. Right. So yeah, but wide receivers. Boy, there's a lot of. We'll see if things keep flushing out here a little bit as we go, but yeah, it's an ugly, ugly scene. And speaking of ugly, the tight ends. But the impressive thing with the tight ends, granted, they never have a lot of consistent players, but the scoring is way up for tight ends. So the typical clutch factor for tight ends is usually about 8 points, plus or minus a half. So like 7.5 to 8.5. They're at 9.37. But yet, we do have some. We have there's a couple 1-for-1s like George Kittle in first week and Darren Waller this past week. Goddard's 3 for 3. Trey McBride's the only tight end. He's 4 for 4, third in total points. At 75%, which is then nothing after everything after that's 50% or lower. Hunter Henry, Jake Ferguson, Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft, Dalton Kincaid, Juwan Johnson, and Brent Strange. Not Kyle Pitts. That's an interesting group because that group of players would have been drafted probably between rounds 7 through 12. Juwan Johnson wouldn't have been drafted at all. I drafted Kincaid quite a bit. I was all about him. But that's the top. And we haven't brought up the one name that everybody drafted in the late first, early second round that talk about painful. What's your thoughts on that top group? Do you see most of those guys continuing? Do you think some of them are a fluke? What are your thoughts on that top group that I just mentioned?
I think McBride's probably stuck there. He's probably tight end one, and that doesn't shock me at all. Some of the other stuff, we said this last week. Whoever has the biggest game at tight end this week, if they have a blow-up game, they're going to be 1, 2, or 3 next week. It feels like, in the actual points. Like Ferguson and Henry both had huge weeks and just jumped up there. Like I said, this doesn't surprise me a lot. Some of these guys are Juwan Johnson still sticking around does a little bit, but for the most part, I think this whole tier of maybe 6 to 7 tight ends after that top 1 or 2 is going to just keep bouncing around the board. These guys are going to go as matchups go, and none of them seem to be dominating. There's not a Puka here running away with it. There's not a Travis Kelce like there has been in years past. So if you waited on tight end, you probably got rewarded. Like you said, Brock Bowers way down here on the list and doing stuff, and even Kelsey down there not doing much.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
remind me on Kelsey.
I expected more of him.
I drafted him so much. So yeah, in that 50 percentile, in with Brock Bowers and Travis Kelsey are Kyle Pitts, Zach Ertz, Mark Andrews, Jake Tunges for San Francisco, definitely because that's all they have to throw to. And then Harold Fannin Jr., who hasn't done anything since week 2, and then AJ Barner for Seattle has popped in there a couple times as well. Like I said, I was all about Kelsey because I could get him in the 5th, 6th round. I keep waiting for his big game. I just don't know when it's going to happen, or if it's going to happen. But again, the real ugliness is down in that 25 percentile range where you have Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, Jonnu Smith, and I mean, there's other people in there like Chiggy and, those kind of folks. I know a lot of people were high on Mason Taylor. He finally had his first clutch game this past week. But the Laporta, Hawkinson, Jonnu Smith, that's rough because a lot of people thought that, Laporta was going to be, at least solidly consistent, 17th in total points. TJ Hawkinson's 18th. I really thought Hawkinson would see the ball more too. Now maybe JJ McCarthy's out, so now you've got more of a veteran in Carson Wentz. He doesn't have a problem throwing the ball to JJ, Justin Jefferson, and those kind of guys. And obviously Addison's back and had a big week as well. David Njoku 0 for 4. That's a crusher. I really thought he would do more. Evan Ingram's 0 for 4. He was highly rated as well. Kate Otten. So, yeah, just an ugly, ugly scene at tight end. I mean, we're used to it. I don't know if Darren Waller is the next thing. I'm going to say no. But it was just interesting that all of a sudden, boom, I think he got 2 touchdowns, right?
He did. He got 2 touchdowns, yeah.
So he put that into a parlay with 2+ touchdowns for Darren Waller. I'm sure those odds were peachy.
Insane, yeah. And then now with Tyreek Hill dislocating the knee and doing that, I mean, there might be targets to go around
more, right? Yeah. Jalen Waddle and them. So, all right. Well, there's our consistency, folks, for the week. What we saw, what we're going to see this week. Folks, pay attention out there. Make sure you look at these numbers. Check out all the tools on Big Guy Fantasy Sports. That's where we get all these numbers. So, we're not making these up. They're right in front of us, and you can subscribe for only $20 for the whole season, get all that information. So, James, tell everybody where they can find you and all your great stuff this week as well.
Hey, guys. Yeah, you can find me on X at Keese, and also articles on Big Guy Fantasy Sports. Check out the YouTube channels for IDP Plus and videos and stuff like that. And, yeah, if you want to talk football, shoot me a follow. I'll follow you back.
Absolutely. All kinds of great stuff. Under the Radar just came out tonight or today. So check that out. Always great stuff there as well. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Bob_Lung. I will be back. I think we'll have the Holy Trinity back for DFS and prop bets this weekend. Me, Ron, and Kobe coming back at you for prop bets and DFS time, consistently cashing, prop it like it's hot. So for James Knight, I'm Bob Lung. Take care. God bless. Have a great week 5. We'll see you next week.